Appalachian Potato Plan, Harpers Ferry Junior High School, West Virginia. It was in the clove of seasons that the classroom was alive with learning. Winter was dead, but spring had not yet sprung. Bees were abuzz when they should not have been, but this was normal for teenagers. Ranale was slapping Carrie, Ruth was shooting colored rubber bands, and Amber was just nodding her head and saying, "Uh-huh." William was scribbling on his folder. The two Marks were putting up the bulletin board. Mrs. Brown was passing out papers, and Chris was passing out from holding his breath. Mike was stapling his shoe. Natasha and Jennifer were taping the wall like wild burritos. I was just handing in my folder when Mike fell out of his seat, knocking me to the floor with lightning speed. The two Marks were wrapping each other in big sheets of color paper and hitting each other with rulers like mad dogs. Suddenly, Ranale pushed them on top of us. With all the commotion, Natasha and Jennifer lost their balance and fell upon Amber's desk, knocking all three of them into the pile. I was smushed to the orange carpet floor where the strips of duct tape are. Slowly, I watched a crack appear and the tape began to peel back. The floor was caving in. While Ranale was laughing like a hyena, Carrie pushed her into the pileup. "The floor is caving in," I yelled. No one heard me in all the chaos, except Ruth, who said, "He's right." We tried to disperse the pile of ragdolls, but it was too late. "Oh, great," I said, disappearing into the blackness below. Ranale grabbed onto Carrie to try to pull herself out, but ended up pulling her in, too. Ruth was still on firm ground and caught Jennifer's hand. Natasha was falling through the hole in the floor because Amber was holding onto her leg, so she grabbed Jennifer's toe. Mark clung to Amber's heel as the other Mark hung on his shoelaces. Ranale and Carrie were dangling from the top edges of Mark's socks. While Mike hung from the sole of Mark's boot, he caught my ankle and my stomach hit my throat like a runaway train. "Hold on!" Ruth shouted, trying to pull us up. "Don't let go!" Mark shouted. So there we were, the 9th grade class dangling beneath the floor of the English room at Harpers Ferry Junior High, which was actually in the town of Bolivar. We were hanging there like acrobats. As I hung there, trying to remain as still as possible, I examined the subfloor 10 feet below me. The basement floor was of red and white tiles. The red ones formed a symbol, the Nazi swastika. Suddenly, Ruth was kicked from behind, and we all continued to plummet. We hit the floor all together like a ton of bricks hitting an empty pool. It was like a nightmare. After everyone had toppled off the pile, all I could say was, "Ouch!" It was not fun being a trampoline for anything larger than yourself, or as the case may be, a herd of things larger than yourself. We began calling for help, but it seemed no one was up in the English room anymore. Where was Mrs. Brown? Who had kicked Ruth? We did not know. While Mike was saying something about awesome, Ranale was asking how we were going to get back up. "It's simple. We aren't," Carrie said. "We are going to live and die down here like a pack of poodles, except we are poodle-less." Ruth said, "We should walk around down here, look for an exit." "It's your fault we are down here in the first place," yelled Mark. "I was kicked from behind," Ruth replied. "What the hell is a Nazi swastika doing here?" I asked. Natasha pointed to the left where it was dark. It was a tunnel. We dusted ourselves off and descended even further into darkness. "There's some sort of hieroglyphics on the wall," Mark noticed, passing his hand over the narrow walls of the passage. Jennifer got an extra torch from the wall and lit it. "What do the symbols say?" asked Ruth. "It's ancient Hebrew, I think," said Amber. "I think I can read it. It says something about being born unto the earth, and the external flames were extinguished. Fire and brimstone, the cavities of light. A plane, coming to take us away. Sunglasses, mushy oatmeal." "Put a wallet in her mouth," someone yelled. "Oh my!" exclaimed Ranale. Amber calmed down and said, "I'm sorry. I am a little rusty with ancient texts." "That's okay," Mike said. "We don't need to know what it says. My hair is picking up computer signals." Ahead was a soft orange light. It was coming from an elevator. It was open, and an old man with a black suit on stared at us from inside. "I'm not going in there," Ranale whispered. "Come on, it'll be fun," Mark said. "Besides, when was the last time you saw an elevator in West Virginia?" "Exactly," Ranale said. After some arguing, we all squeezed in the elevator. The old man was wearing a gray uniform and had gray hair to match. I was very suspicious of him, but he did not have red eyes, threaten us, or attack us. "Going up," the old man said, and the doors closed us in like birds in a cage. We were moving up fast. "Okay, we'll get off here," Ranale said. The old man just stared at his fingernail. "We are getting off now," Nail shouted. The elevator came to a halt. The doors opened, and we fell out. As the elevator went back down without us, we heard the faded laugh of the old man. Now we were in a computer room. On the floor were windows. While Mike pressed buttons on the computers, the rest of us looked down through floor windows. Below us was the English room. The hole in the carpet that we fell through was taped back up. No one was in the room. Where was Mrs. Brown? "Wait a minute," Jennifer said. "Where is William?" "Right here," William answered as he pressed a potato to Mike's head. "I see you've uncovered my undercover operation. I have no choice but to terminate you all. You must understand, nothing can stand in the way of my Appalachian potatoes." "What?" Carrie questioned. William smiled and continued his plot. "When I discovered that there were Appalachian potatoes under the school and that Nazis would buy them for $100 an ounce, I made a deal with the Nazi distributor. Their part was to supply me with the tools and computers to run a secret mining operation under the school. My part was to shave my head and put swastikas on it. To hide my new hairstyle, I wear this wig. Besides that, they wanted me to put swastikas in the middle of all the flags in the school. No one has noticed because the flags hang down all the time, and the swastikas cannot be seen." William began to laugh. "I thought my operation was foolproof until you fools fell right into my base. I am going to be quite wealthy, as the magic potatoes are abundant in these parts from all the junk that people throw into the woods. The pollution drips down into the soil and makes me money. Ferrari F40, here I come." "Where is Mrs. Brown?" Ruth asked. "She is at home, sick," William answered. "She has been sick for 2 weeks. The Mrs. Brown you've seen is merely a hologram to keep you in class while I dig potatoes. To keep suspicion at bay, I send a hologram of myself into classes. Less talk means less programming for the computer hologram. That is why my hologram rarely reads out loud. I only come out of my secret base to play sports." "But the hologram seems so real," Mark said. "The entire carpet is lined with a laser grid," William explained. "A beam is sent down from the ceiling grid, and sounds are made from the air vent. The film projector screen enhances the 3D image by bouncing the signals. These windows appear to be lights from below, and I use them to observe you. I also create fire drills when necessary." Before William could say any more, Mike struck like lightning and grabbed the potato away from him. William laughed. "You can't kill me. I have trained under Chuck Norris." "You can't kill me either," Mike said. "I am an android." Mike tossed the potato to Ranale. William swung at him. He missed. He missed again, and again. That's when Mike tore off his face, revealing that of a machine. "Too fast for you?" Mike asked as his hair spikes shot out from his head and paralyzed William. After some torture from Carrie and Ranale, William promised not to deal with Nazis anymore. We sold all the computers for big bucks. William grew his hair back, but we never got around to removing all the swastikas from the flags. Every once in a while, we open the cabinet doors and climb up to the empty room where the great Appalachian potato operation was uncovered. As for the old man in the elevator, we never saw him again. The end.